Minutes after being sworn in, 47th US President Donald Trump sprung into action announcing a slew of policy changes. It's now official. He's the next president, and now it has started. His first act as president was to sign an avalanche of executive orders and proclamations. Trump began signing executive orders on stage at Capitol Arena as thousands of supporters cheered. He then headed to the White House and signed multiple orders at the Oval Office while interacting with the media. At the Capitol One Arena, Trump signed an order to withdraw the United States from the Paris Climate Agreement for a second time. He also signed a formal letter to the United Nations notifying the global body of the country's intent to leave the landmark 2015 accord. Trump also signed an executive order on Monday requiring federal workers return to the office full-time. Trump also signed pardons for participants in the January 6, 2021 riot at the U.S. Capitol. More than 1,500 people were charged in connection with the assault on Congress by Trump supporters who were seeking to disrupt certification of Democrat Joe Biden's election victory. Claiming a mandate to reshape American institutions, Trump set to work unraveling Joe Biden's legacy. He revokes 80 executive orders of the Biden era, calling them destructive and radical. And earlier in the day, U.S. border authorities shut down Biden-era customs and border protection program. It allowed migrants to schedule entry appointments with an app and cancelled existing appointments. Meanwhile, U.S. senators voted to expand the Laken-Riley Act, approving pre-trial incarceration for foreign criminal suspects. Before taking office, Trump said that he will be signing as many as 200 executive actions on day one as the 47th U.S. president. The signed orders include a wave of policy changes that Trump shouldered his entire presidential campaign on. Remember, during his campaigns, Trump had said that he will carry out the largest deportation in American history. To give you a figure there, a figure that we've heard all through the election campaign of Donald Trump, 11 million undocumented workers are on the chopping block now. United States President Donald Trump has signed an executive order to withdraw the country from the Paris Climate Agreement, marking a second exit for the U.S. in less than a decade. Now, following this, he signed a formal letter to the United Nations notifying the global body of the country's intent to leave the 2015 accord. The accord is aimed at limiting long-term global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels, or failing that, keeping temperatures at least well below 2 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels. The accord is voluntary and allows nations to provide targets to cut their own emissions of greenhouse gases from the burning of coal, oil and natural gas. Now, with this move, the US joins a small group of nations such as Iran, Libya and Yemen that are not part of the accord. Under the agreement's rules, exiting would take a year after submitting formal notice to the UN. United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres, through a spokesperson, expressed confidence that US cities, states and businesses would continue to push for low-carbon economic growth despite the federal government's withdrawal. Besides initiating US withdrawal from the Paris Climate Accord, Trump, after being sworn in, declared a national energy emergency to expand drilling in US, which is the world's top oil and gas producers. Also, he said he would scrap vehicle emission standards that amount to an electric vehicle mandate. Moreover, he vowed to curb wind farms.